Yeah,
I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
all the time.
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god.
Oh, what? What happened? What? What happened? What?
We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, chef. Why did they give me a camera and a microphone?
too funny.
Because they don't know your name is at Nurmamos.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. Come on. I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Shep could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs.
So, in conclusion, that's
Am I the only one turned on by all this?
I'm Roogs. Welcome to my channel.
Can hear.
image. I can't. Why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time.
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god.
Oh, what? What happened? What? What happened? What?
We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, chef. Why did they give me a camera and a microphone?
too funny.
Because they don't know your name is at Nurmamos.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. Come on. I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Shep could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs.
So, in conclusion, that's
Am I the only one turned on by all this?
I'm Roogs. Welcome to my channel.
Can hear.
image. I can't. Why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time.
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared. Just let it slide in.
Oh my god.
Oh, what? What happened? What? What happened? What?
We have an
Is that an outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, chef. Why did they give me a camera and a microphone?
too funny.
Because they don't know your name is at Nurmamos.
Exposing the trauma. It's like a fan dance. Just like peeking one little trauma at a time.
Roogs. Come on. I didn't want to keep my snake to myself. I wanted to share. And of course, if Roogs wins when the lights
Me
go
and
off.
Shep could right now on the stream, and it's still less awkward than that.
Go Roogs.
So, in conclusion, that's
Am I the only one turned on by all this?
I'm Roogs. Welcome to my channel.
Can hear.
image. I can't. Why?
Yeah, I see him eat all the time.
He's like,
what am I talking about?
All the time.
Dondero.
I'm a hot mess. Okay.
This is a test of our friendship.
Don't be scared.
Yes.
Just let it slide in.
Oh my
Relax.
god. Oh, what? What happened? What happened? What happened
Is
out
that an
there?
outdoor kitchen?
That is an outdoor kitchen.
Hello.
Hi, chef. Why did they give me a camera and a microphone? Y'all, I just bit the fuck out of my lip. That hurt. I think I might be bleeding. Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Middle. I'm Rugs, and this is my show about my mental health journey. Where I've been, where I'm going, how I'm dealing, how I'm not dealing, and just sort of everything in between. So yeah, hence the title of the show, In the Middle, because I'm in the middle of this journey, and I'm in the middle of, like, my lip really hurts.
So you know how the character book parade is on Thursday?
Yeah?
I can dress up as a dragon.
You're gonna dress up as a dragon?
Dragon!
Okay, well, I'm streaming, baby, so okay. So as you can tell, I have my kids this week, which I thoroughly enjoy. But my youngest came in. She's so excited. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm gonna be a dragon. I'm like, good. All right, we're all gonna be dragons. So yay, dragon other weaklings, right? So yeah, so just a little disclaimer: anything that I say here, anything that is said is my opinion, my journey. It is for editorial only, entertainment purposes only. So none of it is doctrine. I am not a mental health professional. I am just a trauma trisket on the internet, talking about my journey, just talking about my mental health journey and where I am and where I'm going, and sort of just thoughts that go through my head. Dragons have all the fun. They do. Dragons have all the fun. I realized, since I have my own house now, that I can have more than one Christmas tree. And so I was like, I don't know, that dragon tree sounded really good right now. Like, so excited. I could have the kid tree, with all the kid special ornaments, and then I could have like a themed tree. And I'm like, I don't usually do major Christmas stuff, but so the title of my show is What I Didn't Know. And this is just a lot of, I've been having things since, because I have and we actually touched on it a little bit in D101, which is ironically sometimes that happens. I have this idea for a show, and Dondero has an idea for D101, and they just sort of happen to line up. So it works out. And just things as a kid and thoughts that I had as a young adult, as a kid, even just a couple of years ago, that I didn't really know, and that I discovered about myself along the way, and I discovered about life and relationships, and just in general, things that I didn't know, and that maybe I assumed, which is another thing, is that your trauma makes you assume all of these things and these thoughts. And one of them is that the big one is I didn't know that it was possible for for people to care about me that didn't require anything from me. And by that I mean, because trauma, you attract and your trauma, the people in your relationships. The whole reason that you repeat cycles is until you realize your boundaries, until you realize that's not the type of person that I want in my life. Unless you realize those things, you're gonna be attracted to all of those people, the same type of person, the same type of people, the same type of friends, the same type of romantic partners, you're going to just draw those people in. You're a magnet, and you always wonder, like, you're miserable, and you're always wondering why. And that's one thing I didn't know, is I didn't know that was what I was doing, is that I didn't know that the whole reason that I was getting treated like garbage is because I was letting the people and accepting the people in my life and allowing them to treat me like garbage. I was finding these people. I was seeking out these people. I was self-sabotaging because, oh, and here's one that just goes right here in the gut. I was self-sabotaging because self-sabotage, the pain, the misery, the self-hatred, all of that stuff was normal. That was comforting. That was safety. It may have made me feel bad. I may have been miserable. I may have been struggling. I may have been just downright just in dark places because of it, but it was what I knew. It was what I knew. So these were the people that I surrounded myself with because it is what I knew. Because and when those few people that did come into my life, aw, thanks, Bates. So these people that, even some of the good people that were in my life, I would be like, oh, they're such good people. I'm so glad. I would find ways to sabotage those relationships, and I would find ways to sabotage myself because the good was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable, and I didn't know that. Like, I didn't realize that. I created these like this person. I created this idea. Oh, thanks, Bates. I created this idea in my head that I wasn't good enough. So if I wasn't going to be good enough, there's no way this person could really truly care about me. So if this person really truly cared about me, what would it matter if I fucked the things up anyway? Because I'm just going to fuck it up anyway. And people are trash. And people are trash because, you know, they treat me like garbage. But in the reality is I was just creating these things. What I was doing was fostering the negative, and I was fostering the things that were comfortable. And just because they were comfortable to me doesn't mean that they were not toxic or they were healthy. They weren't. I was fostering all these toxic, unhealthy relationships because it was the only thing that I knew. It was the only thing that I knew. I didn't know how to have a healthy relationship or friendship. I didn't know what it was like to have friends that were just willing, that didn't want something from me, that didn't expect something from me. I didn't know what that was like. And so when I was presented with that, I didn't know what to do with it. So I just destroyed it because that can't be real. That's not reality. They're fake. They're fake. Our relationship, our friendship is fake. It's not real. It can't be real because that's not my reality. My reality is I'm expected to be used and be useful and to be kept down and kept, even though I didn't want to be kept down, and that I wanted to be, you know, boosted and supported and loved and cherished and cared for. I didn't want those things in reality because it was uncomfortable. Because healthy relationships mean that you have to make a lot of hard truths, look really hard looks at yourself, and you don't want to do that. Because when you take those long, hard looks at yourself, you realize that the reason people treat you the way that they treat you, the reason that you are surrounded by people who make you feel like sad and depressed and make you feel bad about yourself, is because you taught them to treat you that way. and you accepted that that's the way you should be treated. And that's what you tell them. It's okay to treat me this way because I don't know how to feel good. I don't know how to feel happy. I don't know what that's like. I didn't know how to be happy because I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it because my trauma was anytime I was happy and getting to know the point where the fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of change. Yeah. And I didn't know how to be happy because my trauma, my trauma, and everybody reacts to their trauma differently, but my trauma was the moment I was happy and the only time I was getting positive reinforcement was when I was either one, providing some type of service, whether it be emotional, physical, an act of service, like whether I was doing something for somebody else, or I was happy and right around the corner somebody was going to take it from me. Right around the corner somebody was going to weaponize my happiness and make me feel bad about being happy. And I know that sounds really, really shitty. I know that sounds shitty, and it is really, really shitty. And I didn't know that that wasn't okay because that was just what I knew in childhood. So that's what I learned to accept into my young adulthood, my teenage years, and what I learned to accept as a grown-ass adult. And I didn't know how. That is one thing that I repeatedly said to my therapist. I don't know how to be happy. I don't know what to do when I am no longer hating, full of this self-loathing and self-hatred. I don't know what to do with that. And what really pissed me off, and still to this day pisses me off because I understand it, is like, do the thing that makes you happy. Well, that's great. That is great for you. That is good advice. Of course, like John said, like we need to do the things that make us happy, which is great. Except that's just like handing somebody a book of Russian, like a book written in Russian, and going, I need you to read this out loud. Okay, I'm not stupid. I know how to read. I'm quite intelligent, but that doesn't mean that I know how to read Russian. So it's not like I can just do it. And people, these positive affirmations and these things where it's just like, just be happy, live, laugh, love, all of this bullshit. And what I didn't know is happiness is a skill. Happiness is that you were conditioned to accept the unhappy. You were conditioned to think that the toxic, unhealthy is normal. So that's what feels comfortable. So that's what feels normal. Even though that's not what you want. That is not what you want. And I didn't know that then either. You don't want to be unhappy. You don't want to be miserable. But that is what you know. So just like, that's all you know. You don't know what real happiness is. So how are you supposed to, I want this thing, but I don't know how to do this thing. So it's not as simple as just be happy, especially when you're traumatized. Happy meals, so like for a while, sadness and crying, I could tell. See? Yeah. People don't know how to feel happy, especially when you have suffered great trauma, and especially when you have gone through a life of abuse, when you've gone through a life of trauma, when you suffer from those things, when you've had great, like big things happening to you, you don't know how to be happy. You don't know how to just let people love you. And that's the thing that I know everybody in the BSBN meant really well by that when they would say, let us love you. It's not that simple. It is not as simple. And I don't want them to think that that's not deep down exactly what I wanted, is just to let somebody love me. But I couldn't. I literally couldn't just let somebody love me because I didn't know how. I didn't have the ability. I didn't have the thought processes. I didn't have the emotional, mental maturity for that. And that's hard to say when you're 30 something, you're in your late 30s, early 40s. Like when you finally admit to yourself that you didn't have the mental and emotional skills or capacity to just let somebody do something as what seemingly is as simple as just letting them love you. And that's hard. It's hard. It's hard to learn how to be happy. It's hard because I sometimes don't recognize what happiness is. And I don't recognize that, and sometimes I don't recognize it till it's past and I'm sad. and then it's almost like the sadness and the hurt, that is like my neutral, which I'm working on that. I'm working on that not being my neutral. But for right now, again, accepting where I'm at right now, I know how to deal with sad. I know how to deal with disappointment. I know how to deal with abandonment. I know how to deal with somebody using me and abusing me and treating me like garbage. And I know that that's normal. That's my neutral. And then I realize when I finally get to that point that this person was doing the things that I so crave. They were loving me for me. They were treating me well. They were supporting me and caring for me. But because I didn't know what that looked like, because I didn't know how to recognize that, and because I didn't trust it and I don't trust it, I try to every which way to sabotage it. And usually I'm pretty good at it. I wouldn't say usually. I'm pretty good at self-sabotaging and self-deprecation. And what did I say? I'm an emotional masochist, where I just want to hurt. I like the hurt. I like the emotional hurt, because the hurt is what I know. The hurt is comfortable. It's not good and I don't like it, but I know it. So it's safe. And to anybody who hasn't suffered emotional or mental trauma or any type of trauma, doesn't seem to understand that, those who are lucky enough to not deal, I mean, and those of you who are lucky enough not to deal with that, then I mean, I don't know why you're watching this show, but you know what, entertainment purposes, that I'm pretty to look at. So the hurt and the discomfort, and I didn't know that that's what I was craving, was the safety of the pain. The pain is what I knew. And that's that's where I was. And where I'm at in some cases. Because it's what I know, it's what my brain and my soul interprets as safe. And I am trying to reprogram that. And it's incredibly, incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult to just go, I want to be happy. Okay, I want to feel safe in a healthy way. I want to have a good relationship. I want to have good communication. I want to feel calm and safe in my own skin. I want to be vulnerable, and I want to be able to set boundaries, and all of these things sound like great, wonderful things. And they're fucking terrifying. They're terrifying. I don't know if they're terrifying to everybody. And you know, to those who not, you know, those people who don't find it terrifying, you know, good on ya. You gotta tell me what that's like. You gotta tell me what that's like, because I don't know. All of those things are absolutely terrifying. Yeah, I would rather be in a room full of snakes than because I'm afraid it can be taken away at any moment. And that's what's so terrifying about it. Because if I allow myself to be loved just for being me, for just existing, not because I'm really great in bed, or because I'm, you know, I fit a checklist of what the perfect person feels like and or looks like, or just being loved for just existing. And I'm afraid to let that happen, because if I let that happen and I let myself be happy and I learn to be happy, that means I can have that taken away. And I would rather be sad and just be at a constant sadness, because that's what I know, than to have that moment of happiness just to lose it. And that is a problem, because that is what keeps me from feeling happy and learning how to be happy. And also, it keeps me from learning how to ride the roller coaster of goods and bads and highs and lows. Do you notice that there are most people who aren't always happy? You notice that they're like, you could, by the perception of that they are, you know, the perception that, oh, this person is always happy, but you know that they're not, because they're, you know, whatever. But like, you know, those people, they are always miserable. But you never know somebody who is always happy, always content, always, I mean, some Christians, but I mean, that's a different podcast. Because the people that are always happy, we like instinctively know that they're not always happy. But we're okay with accepting those people and just letting all these people who are always sad just be always sad. Why can't we encourage those people? I don't know. Just like we have to tell somebody and reassure somebody that it's okay to not always be okay. I think sometimes we need to tell those people who are always used to hurting and being sad that it's okay to be happy, and that they're safe in being happy. And that's different, because no one ever told me that. I didn't know it was okay, first off, to not be okay and not pretend like I was okay. And I also didn't, and to a certain extent don't, know that it's okay to be happy. And just be happy. And just allow the happiness, and to let somebody love me. Don't question it. Don't second guess it. And that I'm safe. I'm safe. Because in the end, that's what it all comes down to for me. I felt safe in the toxic behavior. I felt safe in the abuse. I felt safe there because it's what was normal. It's what I would knew. And now I'm having to learn new things, like being happy. And that's fucking scary. That's I don't know how to emphasize how fucking scary and hard that is. Here's the thing. I don't want new, like, I am terrified of letting people get to know me right now because I don't want them, like, I am like, okay, they seem like a really nice person and they seem really great, but you know what? I don't want to screw up all of the work that I have done on myself. I don't want to screw up all this mental health. Like, I have built myself up and I'm in a good place. I don't want to let somebody come in and screw that up. So now instead of like somebody coming in and me, self-sabotaging, now I'm just like keeping them out. And that's not good either. So I don't know how to balance life. I'm an all or nothing, and that's not good. And that's what I'm working on in therapy. Not everything's black and white, and I have to walk the middle path, and I have to find a balance, and I have to. I've never done anything like in the middle. Did it ching? I didn't even mean to do that one, but you know what? Just A+ to me for just rolling that. I didn't know growing up. I didn't know that the things that I was learning, and that's the other thing. And Sean and I actually talk about this, when we're just talking. I have a tendency to judge my young adult, my inner child, my 20-something, judge that person for not knowing what was right in front of her face, for not knowing how to do X, Y, and Z, for not seeing, for not recognizing the toxic behavior or the type of person that I was surrounding myself with. And you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I had to learn. Once you learn what you know, what you're looking for, once you learn what you're looking for, what you know what you're looking for, then you know exactly what you're looking at. And what I mean by that is, I didn't know the red flags were red flags until I learned what green flags were. I didn't know that they were red flags, so I didn't see the red flags. And now I'm like, that's a red flag because I know that that's a red flag. I learned that was a red flag. So I can see that now. So then now I've learned, I've gained that knowledge. I know that now, but I didn't know that then. So for me to judge myself on what I didn't know, what I didn't have any clue about, that's unfair. It's unfair to myself. And I think that sometimes we project that onto other people as well. I know I am absolutely 100% guilty of it. And I still to this day, I'm still like, why don't you, like, I will look at some people and want to fucking punch them in the fucking face and be like, why can you not see what is right in front of your face? Why are you not seeing that? But they can't. Smoky honest lettuce frequency. Pretty sure that was directed me at a few times. No. Well, you know what? It wasn't directed at you, but if the shoe fits, Pep. They can't. They can't see it because they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what they're looking at. They are just looking at what looks normal and acceptable to them. And that was a very hard reality for me. When we call, like, you know, they talked about in How I Met Your Mother, and they talked, and Pep and I talked about it, like the glass shattering. Like all of a sudden, like somebody says something, and all of a sudden your perception of them is shattered, and all of a sudden you can finally see. But because for a while you're behind all these glass and you can't really see it, and now like the reality sets in and the glass shatters, and then all of you see the reality, and that's like, you're like, oh shit, I can't believe I didn't see that before. But up until that point, you didn't see it. You just thought that they were wonderful. Like you didn't like. You just thought that they were great, and everybody else was acting all weird. Why is everybody acting weird? This person is absolutely great to me. Like they're wonderful. I think that they look at all of these redeeming qualities that this person has. I don't understand why everybody hates them until you get to that point where the glass shatters and something happens and reality and then your brain starts to kick in and you start to learn things, and then you realize what you start learning, what you're looking for, and then what you're looking at. And now things make sense. Oh, that makes sense. This person's shitty. But up until that point, you didn't see that they were shitty. They were just wonderful. They were just whatever. And you didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it also goes... This one sucked too. This one was It also goes in reverse. And by I mean, you can be loving and kind. And I don't know how many of you, I've been there way too many times than I'd like to admit, where you're like, why can't you see? Why can't you see how I'm trying to love you? I'm trying to support you. I'm trying to care for you. Why can't you see that I'm just here and I just want to be a part? Like, why can't you see? I just want, you just want them to see, and they can't. And I spent a lot of time in that place where I was just frustrated and I was angry at these people because I'm like, all I'm trying to do is love you. Why aren't you letting me? Why aren't you letting me love you? Which I know, before all of you say anything, I realize, I understand that is probably exactly how you felt towards me, but I am recognizing that now. Okay, so before you at me, but just like the VSBN is quick to tell you, can't force somebody to see how much you love them. Just like you can't force somebody to see the red flags or the toxic behavior, you can't force them to see the healthy, untoxic behavior. My cat was literally in my lap just now, and now she's just been wanting attention. And I had to come to that reality too. I had to let that go. And that was hard. Understanding that I couldn't force somebody to let me love them and care about them. I couldn't force somebody to be vulnerable with me. I couldn't force them to feel safe with me. I couldn't force them anything. And no matter what I did and what I tried. And it was frustrating. But they can only see what they will allow themselves to see. Just like I couldn't see and let people love me and care about me just for existing. Because I was seeing them through very trauma, scratched up, damaged lenses. And I'm still not 100% there. I still wrestle with that daily. I still have all the insecure thoughts. There's no way. This person is super great. There is no way. There is no way people like me. I'm too loud. I'm too obnoxious. I say the most inappropriate things. All these things, all these negative self-talk. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know how to even find that. So I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know how to recognize the red flags. I didn't know how to respond to the red flags or the green flags or just being happy. I didn't know any of that shit. I still don't 100% know how to do that shit. But I'm trying. Just because I don't know doesn't mean I won't try. And I have worked incredibly hard to make, there's always going to be people. I like to try to be a likable person. See, okay. Side note. There's a side note, Nerdy Will. There you go. Fun fact. I am a very likable person. I'm an incredibly likable person. Until you cross the line. There is a line. And there is a very distinct, dark, deep line that you do not cross. And you really have to try to cross that line. And once you do, it becomes very ugly very quickly. And there is no coming back from that. Fun fact. I like pretty much everyone until you cross that line. And there are people out there, 100%, I can give you at least 2 of them, who have said, and I quote, "I love you, you're amazing, but I can tell you right now, the reason I stay on your good side is because I can see what it's like on your bad side, and I'm not risking that." All people see is the happy and the trauma. They don't see the ugly. And that's because the ugly side of me doesn't need to come out. Sometimes. Yeah. Just as Sean. We had an entire conversation that pretty much frightened him. Don't believe me, ask my bestie. That's fine. He literally sat there, and I don't think I've ever seen Sean as scared of anything as me just having this conversation. And I wasn't even mad at him. I was just having this conversation. Yeah, like wide-eyed. His eyes just kept getting bigger and get bigger. And he goes, "Holy fuck." Hi. But you mean talking about crossing line? That's scary right there. Most people only see, and that's another thing I didn't know until I started my mental health journey, is I didn't realize that people only saw me how they wanted to see me. And it's interesting. That's just interesting. But that's the way with everyone. I only want to see people how I want to see them. And when you get to that point, which is why the whole, glass shattering thing happens, it's why you have the honeymoon phase. Like, that's why, like, all those things, you only want to see people how you want to see them until you come to that point where you're like, I'm going to sit here. Like, I want to see the whole picture. Or something happens and you actually see them and you're like, maybe they're not the right person for me. And that's the part where it gets really, really scary, because you think that they're great. You think that they're great. You know something's not right, but you still gaslighting yourself. You're still over there going, no, they're a good person. They're what, blah, 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 blah. And you only see their redeeming qualities. You never seem to notice all of the things that are making you miserable. You're only seeing those good redeeming qualities, and those are the things you focus on, because you don't want to open up your eyes and actually see that all the person as a whole. Because then if you see the person as a whole, that means you are going to have to change your whole perception of that person. You're going to have to, your relationship is with that person will change. And sometimes, I'm just as guilty, sometimes you don't want that relationship to change. So you just focus in on the good things and you don't see the shitty things when the shitty things are outweighing the good things. But it's like you're holding on for dear life until you can't. Until you can't deny it anymore. Oh, some people live in Delulu land. I live in the land of delusion, and good on you. That's where you. I have lived there. I have lived there. When you first move there, it's really, really nice. The land of delusion is really nice for when you first live there, but then things start to get a little Stepford wifey, and it's never a good place you want to live long term. It's not where you want to raise your family. I didn't know what I didn't know. I don't know how to be happy in a healthy way. I don't know how to be happy, and I don't know how to let people love me, and I don't know how to let people in. And I fail at it often. I don't know how to express my feelings. I don't know, I live in this constant fear of, I don't know how to express how I feel to somebody without an absolute feeling of terror. I don't know how to feel safe when expressing my feelings, even though I know in my head that this person is a person I can be safe with. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Sometimes I don't. I don't. I come off as very abrasive or very emotional. And I think it's because I don't know how to do it in a healthy way. So it just sort of comes out. And it comes out pretty wrong. And by pretty wrong, I mean really wrong. And it's that's not, have you ever guys had that? Or you're just that's not what I meant. But I know that's how it sounded, but that's not what I meant. I hit my I'm always hitting my mic. I need to learn how to not be a hand talker, but that's fine. You'll get there when you start being more secure in yourself. But it's not about being secure in myself. I mean, yes, it is. There's a part of that, Calvina. There is a part of that where it is being secure in myself. But it's also, I don't know how to communicate. And I get really frustrated because I'm at that point in my mental health journey, which is why I'm usually Yes, and there's nerdy. Well, there's like that overcompensation where you also have to be careful about people constantly explaining themselves, because if they constantly have excuses and are constantly explaining themselves, sometimes that's a way that they can gaslight you. And I actually had to learn that in that was one of the first things I learned in when I first went no contact with my mom, is that they don't need to have a closure conversation. If you feel at that point where, no, I am done, what is good for me is I am done, they don't need that explanation, because the chances are, and the reality is, most of the time you have tried to have that closure conversation, and this is why I'm doing this, and it has allowed them the time to explain themselves and gaslight you, and you then you allow them to talk you out of whatever it is you're doing, because that's the whole reason you're going no contact in the first place, is because you've allowed them to talk you into things and explain themselves. And sometimes there's no explaining in themselves. Sometimes you have to do what's best for you, and you don't need an explanation. And I had to go like the reality is that in reverse, and accepting that is harsh, and accepting that does hurt. But then if I am in a healthy emotional place, if I am in a healthy mental place, then I can accept and responsibility for my actions that put that person in a position where they had to go no contact with me. Okay. This person felt like they had to go no contact with me. So what can I do differently next time? Yeah, the explanations aren't needed. Exactly. Oh, the loopholes. Oh my God. Fucking loopholes. That'll drive you nuts. I didn't know that either. I don't know. There's so much I don't know. There's so much I want to learn. There's so much I like, and I think I'm at the point where I know I don't know a lot, and that I'm in the middle. I know enough to know that I don't know anything, that place. But I'm at the place where I know enough to know that I don't know a lot. But that means I have room to grow and mature. And when I say mature, I don't mean get stuffy and, oh, really, this cat? You! She is just the ultimate brat right there. And I don't mean mature as stuffy, like boomer. I mean mature as in my inner child is allowed to grow up. I get to reparent my inner child, my inner young adults, and for those of you, actually, I'm looking into the internal family systems, IFS, with that, and it's actually quite interesting. You guys should really look it up. It's interesting read even if you don't believe in that philosophy, and that philosophy, yeah. It's still a very interesting concept. But you get to nurture the different parts of yourself. And when I say mature and I say grow, and I know that there are parts of me that still need healing. And I know that there are parts of me that I'm still trying to reprogram, and that there are still bugs in the system, and I don't know, I'm still relearning how to be happy and how to feel safe and how to be vulnerable in a healthy way, and I'm still learning how to set boundaries. I'm learning how to be happy by myself and learning that just because I am okay being by myself doesn't mean that I have to accept being alone. I can be okay by myself and still not want to be alone. That was a hard one for me. And that it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and. I can be and. And I didn't know that either. That's something else I had to learn. Is that the world isn't black and white. It's shades of gray, shades of color. It's color. And for those who are colorblind, there's still shades of stuff. So it's not black or white even then. Even if you're colorblind, it's still shades of stuff. And I don't know exactly what I want in the future. And I don't know what my future looks like. All I know is right now I'm setting myself up that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. I'm setting myself up financially, emotionally, mentally, to where no matter what storm comes my way, I'm still going to be okay. Even if it fucking turns my world upside down, I'm still going to be okay. And that's what I do know. That everything that I do, even if I'm not doing it right, even if I'm not doing it perfectly, or even if I mess up, even if I say the wrong thing, or I hurt the wrong person, or I expect too much of people, I don't know, even if I'm not doing it right. Everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm learning, everything that I know right now, and everything that I don't know that I don't know. 50 Shades of stuff. All of that is one step in setting me up so that no matter what comes my way, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, I'm going to be okay. And I didn't know that that's how you built internal safety. I thought for a long time that feeling at peace and that feeling safe was somebody else providing something for me. That somebody else, like it was being perfect, it was never making a mistake. That it was, as long as I relied on somebody else, that was safety. That there's no real right way to do it. There is no real right thing. There's no such thing as right or wrong, or good or bad. It's all shades of something. And why right or wrong? There is right and wrong, but not like black and white, right or wrong. Morally gray. Morally gray. Why can't there be? Because that is living. I have people in my life who are very black and white people, and that's who they are. They can't help it. It's not like that's their trauma. That's their thought processes. That is who they are. That is there. But if it has to be black or white. It has to fit. It has to fit. It has to make sense. And more than one person, which is funny. I don't understand. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because I am so shades of everything that I have to surround myself with people that are black and white to balance it out. And that's just me overcompensating instead of trying to find my own balance of wise mind and emotional mind. I'm like, or rational mind and emotional mind instead of wise mind. I'm just like, here, I'm emotion based, so you're logic based. So that way we balance each other out, and I don't have to do both work. I don't have to do work for both. You can do your work and I can do my work, and that'll help me meet in the middle, right? No, Roogs, you actually have to do the work and, understand that you're not always logical and you're not always emotional. Oh, thank you, Nerdy Will. I appreciate that. I look at where I was a year ago. I do. I've been thinking about that a lot here in the past few weeks, because the past couple of weeks have been really good, and I haven't felt this good in a very, very, very long time. So of course I'm over here being very hyper aware of trying not to self-sabotage and trying not to repeat old patterns and not go, oh, I'm feeling good, let's blow this shit up. Like, I'm trying not to do that. Yeah, pun intended. So I look at where I was a year ago, just a year ago, not even like 10 years ago. I'm not even going that far back. I am going back a year. And I think about where I was. And I think of who I am right now. And all of the things that I didn't know were possible a year ago, that I thought were pipe dreams.
Don't forget to take out the trash cans.
Don't forget to take out the trash cans every Monday. I thought that they were pipe dreams. I didn't know it was possible to change. I thought that was just who I was. I thought that this is where it was. I thought I didn't know. And I can look back on who I was a year ago and be mad about that, and I can be judgmental about that, and I can be all of these things about that. Or I can understand that I just had no idea. And I can appreciate where I was and look back on that and understand that I didn't know. Because the thing is what I didn't see and what I didn't know is I didn't know that I had the strength to survive. I didn't know I had the strength to change. I didn't know that happiness was possible. I didn't know that I could survive the storms. But now I do. I do know I'm strong enough. I do know that people love me, and I do know that I'm a good person, and I do know that I am resilient. And that I do know. And what that took was just me going through hell. Trial by fire. Learning by doing, Yeah. So, just don't be mad at yourself. Don't look at yourself and don't judge yourself for not knowing. I mean, you're going to do whatever you want to do. I can't stop you. But for what I'm saying is, It's okay if you don't know. It's okay if you don't know how to get there. And it's okay if you don't know how to end a relationship. It's okay if you don't know how to start one. It's okay if you don't know how to love yourself. It's okay to not know. What's not okay is what's not okay is letting that keep you from learning and trying and fighting, seeking the knowledge. And that comes in different forms. So it's okay not to know. It's not okay not to seek the knowledge. And you're going to try and you're going to fail and you're going to try and you're going to get hurt and you're going to be happy and you're going to be devastated. I know I am. It's a roller coaster. But every day is a step forward. And that I do know. Every day I get out of bed. And sometimes I don't want to get out of bed. Some weeks I don't want to get out of bed. So does that be in your future? And it's okay if you do judge yourself. Just as long as you recognize that you're doing it. Because it's recognizing that you're doing it. If you can see that you are doing it, that means you are one step closer to being able to not doing it. It's when it's second nature. You instantaneously judge yourself and somebody has to point it out to you and you don't even realize that you're doing it. But it's when you start recognizing the toxic behavior within yourself or recognizing the toxic behavior in somebody else. It's when you recognize it. That's one step closer because you recognize it. You can see it. That means you know what bad behavior looks like, whether in yourself or other people, which means you've learned something. That means you've grown. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go change overnight. That doesn't mean that you're going to, I recognize that this is a toxic behavior, so I'm going to stop it altogether and it's just going to instantly disappear. No, it takes time. It takes practice. It takes skills. It takes work. It takes figuring out what works for you, whether CBT or DBT or EDMR, what works for you. It isn't going to be overnight. That is not the point. The point is recognizing the growth along the way and the knowledge that you accumulate over time. And you don't even realize how knowledgeable you become until you stop and take a moment. And maybe it takes you a while to get to that place, because I know it does for me. And even tonight, John is pointing all this stuff out to me, and it's just like, what? I know I've been to hell and back several times in the past few months, but it didn't even dawn on me until I thought back onto that January, that New Year's stream of who I was then and think about who I am now. And I realize how much I've grown and how much I've learned and the skills I've acquired and the skills that I fought for and the things that I just learned. But it didn't feel like learning over the time. It didn't feel like I was learning anything or gaining knowledge. I just felt like I was going through fucking hell. But my favorite saying, which actually my Alexa says it every night when the sun sets. You can tell your Alexa to say something when the sun sets and turns the lights on. Smooth seas don't make a skilled sailor. Which means I have to go through this storm so that I can learn and gain the knowledge on how to navigate it. And that doesn't mean I go through one storm. It means I go through several all the time, because that's how weather works. And there are going to be beautiful days. And I have to learn to accept the beautiful days. I don't know how to do that either. I don't trust it. I feel very much like a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, okay, if this is just an illusion, that's the delusion, is the good times, the happiness, the good days, all the happiness, that's the delusion. That's what I'm delusional about. The sad, I understand, that's the delusion, or that's the reality, not the happiness. There's no way that happiness can be reality for me, because whatever reason I give myself, whatever delusional thing I tell myself of why I can't be happy. But that's not true. I have to learn how to be happy. And just like I have to learn how to navigate the storms by going through the storms, I have to learn how to navigate the good days by going through the good days, and learning and accepting the good days, and learning who I am in the good days. I have to learn how to be a skilled sailor in the storm as well as in the calm seas. Good days be like, where are the hidden cameras? I'm being set up. That's right. So, we don't know what we don't know. But also know that you don't know what you're looking at until you know what you're looking for. I know. Self-punishment. Self-punishment by being happy. What's that bullshit? Okay. As much as I love talking to you, and as much as I love this show, I have also, speaking of being an adult and being responsible, I have to put my children to bed, and I also have my second job I've got to go do. So thank you guys for being here in the middle. I really do appreciate you being on this journey with me. And here's hoping that, you know, tomorrow is a new day, and I don't know. I hope that you learn something new about yourself, or that you can recognize how much you've learned about yourself. That's what I hope. All right, I'm gonna go. I love you guys, and I will see you guys later.